Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about, I don't want to call this good news because I feel like that would be inappropriate, but I do feel like there is a slight, and I underline slight, sense of justice when someone commits a crime, goes to jail for it, and is subsequently having a horrible time in jail. Personally, I love to see it, and like I said, it gives you that tiny feeling of justice, though in this case, you'll see how meager it is. But I've been seeing this article pop up everywhere, so I read it, and I did find it interesting because so many times we do talk about crimes, but we don't talk about what happens after, so here we go. Okay, so you guys remember who Chris Watts is, right? The guy who killed his wife and his two daughters. There's a shit ton of body cam footage out there where you can see him straight up lying to the cops. You can see him pulling some shit right in front of you, which is crazy. I suggest you look at the footage if you're interested in it because I think it is extremely telling.
You guys have any kind of issues, marital issues, or?
We're going through separation.
You are? How's that going?
It's going
Civil for the most part, or?
Additionally, we are presented with the subtle cues of Chris's forethought cover story, being that his wife simply ran off with the kids after a breakdown in the marriage.
All the girls' blankies are gone. Their blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
Good.
There's only one stand next to each other. Picks up, cuts hair.
The rest of Chris's conduct could be analyzed and dissected in various ways, and it would be easy to pick at certain oddities in body language and link them with signs of guilt. Yet, without the hindsight we have now, his behavior could just as easily be linked with an innocent man who is understandably concerned and frantic over the disappearance of his family.
Regardless, it was a massive case. Anyway, this is about him. At one point, it really did seem like Chris Watts was genuinely one of the most hated people in America. Chris Watts, who murdered his wife and smothered his little girls as they begged for mercy, lives in fear of fellow inmates. They want to kill him. Chris Watts is in a hell of his own making as he serves a life sentence in a small cell at Dodge Correctional Institution in Wisconsin. He hardly talks to anyone, instead choosing to read his Bible and to ponder the wife and two young daughters he ruthlessly murdered in 2018. The Post has spoken to 3 people who have had contact with a 39-year-old killer behind bars, and they all say that he lives a sedentary lifestyle, has gained significant weight, and has lost most of his hair. What's more, the triple murderer often avoids eye contact with the other inmates for his own safety. When he attends Bible studies, he often keeps to himself and doesn't talk to new people. Personally, none of this is particularly surprising to me. I have to say, there are certain people I don't think there is truly redemption for, and that is un-Catholic of me as someone who was raised Catholic, but truly, nah, it's not happening for Chris Watts in my books. I can understand finding religion after shit happens in your life, though in this case you're the one who did something, so. But a lot of the time when I see people like Chris Watts, like murderers of this caliber, when they find religion, I just don't buy it. It seems like a gimmick, it seems like an image, it seems like you're trying too hard to look like you've changed, and I never believe it. So I'm just gonna say that. So all this Bible study, him reading his Bible, whatever, it doesn't change anything. But it's interesting how a lot of people like him hang on to that as if to say, look, I'm a good person now. A lot of people would like to get their hands on him, said Eddie Neves, who spent a year at the prison alongside Watts. He killed 2 little girls who didn't do nothing to deserve it. He's the lowest of the low at Dodge. A lot of people want to get their revenge for those girls. I think the internet would support it. So far, of what I've seen on the internet actually, who have been retweeting this article, have supported it and were saying, let us know when it happens. So in case you wanted to know how people generally feel about Chris Watts, there you go. Watts admitted to strangling his pregnant wife, Shannon, in their Colorado home in August of 2018. He then drove her body to a job site at the oil company where he worked and disposed of it. He returned home and then smothered his daughters, Bella 4 and Celeste 3, as the little girls begged for mercy. After he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Colorado prison officials arranged to have him transferred to Wisconsin for his safety. So I don't know what all was going on at the Colorado prison. I can only imagine that he was in some danger for his life. And at that point, I really just have to say, in my books, survival of the fittest, maybe that's it. No, it's not actually harsh. Never mind. They protect him at Dodge, Neves continues. If the guards weren't always around, everyone would take a swing at him. Those sentiments are echoed by Watts's former cellmate from 2018 to 2020, who said Watts is often in danger behind bars. He's an outcast, said Dylan Tallman, who worked on a yet unpublished devotional book with Watts. When people found out that his victims were 2 little girls, they wanted to kill him. He had nowhere else to turn. I think I was his only friend. Now that is one thing I do enjoy about the image prisons have to outsiders, because I don't really know what's going on in a prison. But the concept of child murderers being afraid for their lives in prison, there's some kind of poetic justice to that. I've always been a fan of that general concept. That being said, when Watts was sentenced, if I had been in his shoes, I probably would have rathered the death penalty than going to prison, knowing how people treat child killers in prison. I will say that. Authorities said Watts committed the murders because he was having an affair with Nicole Kessinger, a coworker who would later claim that she thought he was already separated. Every day he thinks about what he did, Tallman said. He has photos of the girls and he prays for forgiveness every day, but he knows he can't undo what he did. A spokesperson for the Wisconsin Department of Corrections said that Watts has had no scheduled visitors for several weeks. He occasionally receives a pastoral visit. His mother visited him earlier this year. However, Watts has several prison pen pals, mostly women. I was willing to bet that Watts had some prison pen pals that were women, because there is always a weirdo outside of prison, if not multiple, who is ready to write to an inmate feeling like they relate to him. They're the ultimate I can fix him, I can fix her people. And it's truly, truly alarming, because unless you're doing some kind of research, I really don't know why you'd put yourself in that position. I don't know if people maybe romanticize writing to someone who's behind bars, but it's like, bro, if he ever gets out, he knows where you live and you're just okay with that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that topic because I've already been doxxed by that category of the true crime people. Not interested. At times, when he would talk about the murders, his eyes would turn so black. His one-time pen pal, Sherlyn Cattle, told Inside Edition in 2021. He would just get a different look on his face, and he talked about it so nonchalantly, like going down to get a cup of coffee. He's fucked in the head, added Neves. When you're in prison with a lot of guys who did really bad things, but you're still considered the worst person there, you're just evil. And I agree with that on Neves. If you're in prison and you're still at the bottom of the food chain, that's how you know you're actually a total piece of shit. If everyone even there hates you, if there's no possibility of finding your own little group there, maybe ask yourself a lot of questions. Aside from that, I did think it was interesting that the one-time pen pal said that he would talk about the murders nonchalantly, because I find that far more telling. And this goes back to what I was saying about the whole Bible shit. It's just like, you can carry around the book and you can say that you're reading it and you can go to your church groups or whatever the hell, but at the end of the day, what's going to be more telling to me forever and always is going to be the way that you talk about children, your children that you murdered, in a just blasé la-di-da way. Like, granted, it's not brand new information to you what you did, but talking about some kind of trauma just like it's nothing is unnerving, specifically in this context, and to me that will always say more than, you know, turning to religion or whatever. Anyways, you guys can let me know what you think. I honestly, it might be a little bit grim to say, but I really don't think he's going to live a long time. I never thought he was going to survive this long in the first place because, like I said, child killers in prison usually don't last long, and I just feel like at some point someone's going to get him and it's going to be game over, but that's just my little take. I'm honestly surprised he didn't get a death sentence, but it is what it is. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.